Hello ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reacts, and this is Iran just replaced its entire military command. What is this, a company? You hear about companies doing that. Oh, new owner is here. The whole board of directors, not board of directors, the whole command structure, CEOs, managers, everybody just got replaced. All right. How do you do that with a country and a government? Group. I don't even know what to call IRGC at this point. But yeah, apparently they have 6 new appointees for their high command. This is by the channel Max Afterburner, obviously. Does this say something? Does this say there is a shift in the things that are happening? Because, you know, when you hit a roadblock, which what we are at right now, I think, because no real changes are happening, any change or any result is like a significant result. This could be one of those things. Maybe this is turning of a tide. Maybe this will result in some kind of a final result. Maybe they'll make a deal. These new people might be the people who are more susceptible to American demands. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. Let's do this one.
This is an F-16. It was just posted on CENTCOM's X page this week. Wings heavy, working hard in the same patch of Gulf sky that it has owned for 5 straight months. That jet was designed back in the 70s as a cheap little day fighter. We're just out for a little day camping expedition, but in this case, we can dogfight as well. This was the budget answer to a more expensive version, the F-15 Eagle, and the F-16 has spent this entire war doing a lot of the unglamorous work that actually wins. One, presence, pressure, numbers, having a lot of these fighters to actually do what they do, and precision over a blockade that has redirected more than 50 ships and never had to fire a shot at most of those ships. Most is the key word there. In 5 months, Iran's Navy has not broken that line, and a lot of it is thanks to the F-16s, the F-35s, the fighter jets up ahead. And in the last 24 hours, Iran has blinked, and this is what you need to know. Tehran announced a full purge of its military high command. 6 new appointments signed in the name of the supreme leader, the cardboard Ayatollah, that the president of the United States has said is basically 90% gone. And nobody on earth has seen the Ayatollah in...
Wait a minute, wasn't there a recent photo or a video of, of him? Oh, he was on the bed or something. Wait a minute, I need to check that. Oh, there you go. This is day old.
Then suddenly, Iran released a video of him, just 13 seconds. Khamenei is sitting with several people. He appears to be speaking to them. He looks calm, he looks composed. The message is pretty clear. He is here, he is working, and according to Iran, he is still in charge. But there is one big catch. We do not know when or where this video was recorded. And that matters because this is not live footage. It does not tell us what Khamenei's health.
So that's the caveat. Iran released that video. Oh, look, everything's fine. But how do we know that's new one?
Public for 5.5 months. So you don't hand your war to your hardest men when you're winning. They're basically putting the biggest hardliners, some of them that have already pseudo been in these positions, but now it's technically official, because the Ayatollah is supposedly signing it. Ayatollah signing, wink, wink, cardboard cutout signing. What could be going on behind the scenes? Well, F-16s are over the Gulf right now, making Iran nervous, along with the P-8A Poseidon. Hunting what's left of Iran's submarine fleet, Ghadir midget subs is something they're rumored to have still as well, and a mine stockpile that's in the hundreds or maybe even close to 1,000, and a command structure that got gutted and rebuilt in about 24 hours. And then stay for the global roundup section, the hardest hitting things we're covering there. Ukraine reaches 500 miles into Russia and lights up one of its biggest refineries again. But basically for Iran, when your big turnaround plan to start winning the war is putting the old...
Yeah, imagine Mexico or Iran was going 500 miles inside America and blowing a factory or refinery. How ridiculous that would be. That's what's happening in Russia. Imagine telling a guy 6-7 years ago that this is going to happen.
Secret police boss back in charge. I think you've officially run out of good ideas. And here's some breaking quotes coming in from POTUS. This chart was posted and it says Iran has no money. So in 2025, 1 million Iranian rials was about $1.11. And then today, 1 million Iranian...
$1 million Iranian rial is equal to $1? How do you even like I know there are countries that are like stats like that exist in certain African country. I remember Top Gear going there and that was the case. Was it Zimbabwe? I don't know, something like that. How do you even like, oh, what is that bread cost? Oh, I don't know, 100 million. How do you even make, like, do you make a note that says 100 million? That's insane.
Rials is about 53 US cents. So yeah, not getting better at all for Iran and their economy. And then President Trump also posted this. He said, I see that representatives of the Islamic Republic of Iran are asking for compensation for the damage done to them during the last 5-month military conflict started because they will never have a nuclear weapon, even though it was never mentioned in any of our agreements or meetings. But it is an interesting idea because now I am likewise demanding compensation from Iran, and we've talked about this before, for all of the people that they have killed and gravely wounded with their roadside bombs and many conflicts for which they are famous, as led initially by General Soleimani, or General Salami, as some people might call him, including the families of those killed on the USS Cole and thousands of others killed in combat. President Trump also added this on. He said, also, with respect to the Iran negotiations, Iran should be responsible for the damages and deaths caused to the people of Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, and Gaza. So again, Iran is saying they want war reparations, even though they've been executing proxy tactics.
That is interesting, isn't it? Because how many people in Lebanon support Hezbollah? Because if that number is low, which that means that Iran is funding Hezbollah, Hezbollah is doing militant things, and there is a destruction in Lebanon because of it, and the people have nothing to do with it. If that's the case, then Trump is right, isn't it? Because if Iran didn't fund them, this wouldn't happen. So how much percentage of Lebanon actually support them?
Around the globe and slaughtering 50,000+ of their own people. So yeah, because it's kind of the whole story here. In the last day, Iranian state media issued 6 senior military appointments in the name of Majabta Khamenei, the man who inherited the top job after the late February strike that took out his father, and who has not appeared in public once since. Not once. Ahmad Vahidi, Commander-in-Chief of the Revolutionary Guard, Ali Azmai, Guard Navy Commander, Ali Abdali, Armed Forces Chief of Staff, and Hossein Taeb, the former Intel Chief, back to run the Basij. Those appointments were announced by Iranian state television, and then CNN republished that. So look at the first name though, Vahidi. He's the man that Argentina has wanted for 3 decades over the bombing of a Jewish community center in Buenos Aires. That's who Iran just officially put at the top of the IRGC. So not moderation. This is a regime handing the keys to its most hardline men. But at this point, nothing has blinked. The President of the United States told...
Okay, he's wanted in Argentina. All right, this just gets weirder and weirder, man.
Axios, the United States is only semi-negotiating, said the Navy has full control of the Strait, which it does, along with the air power that's up overhead supporting it, and added that when Iran drops a mine, we find the mine, like that. Washington stacked fresh sanctions on Tehran on top.
I like how they put carpets or something like that. They're like padding. There are no dents or something when the shell drops.
Top of all of that military pressure, Iran's answer was that it will not buckle. We are strong and will not buckle. And note the careful wording out of Tehran. Iran is not refusing to talk to everyone. It denies talking to the United States alone and confirms it is talking to Oman. Like we've talked about in the past few videos, they're trying to cement that deal and then be like, look, we have an official law. Look right here. And the United States is like, yeah, basically your law says you can extort in an international waterway. That's not a real law, my friend. Do you know what laws are? I mean, at this point, Iran is that country that's like, we're enforcing the law of not chaining any alligators to fire hydrants. Yeah, actually, that is a law. If you look up old laws, that is actually a law that's out there. So,
you know, when there is World Cup of anything like football, cricket, whatever you want to call it, a country should just come out with a law that only we are allowed to win. That's it. Why even try to win? It's a law, right? I'm going to win FIFA World Cup. It's a law. Look at that.
At this point, I think Iran can start writing books like that. Iran might as well, at this point, just outlaw alligators attached to fire hydrants. That would carry as much weight as what their Oman law seems to be carrying, with them being able to extort the international waterway. Oh yeah, and then continuing on that story, pay attention to who got the Navy for the IRGC. Ali Azmai. He now runs the Guards.
Wouldn't wait a minute, alligator is not crocodile. I think I don't know about alligators, but if they are strong as crocodile, wouldn't they just able to like rip the fire hydrant just by strength alone? I don't know.
Naval arm, the exact force that seeds the strait with mines, runs the small boat swarms, and hides the midget subs. You don't put a fresh hardliner over that command if your plan is to quietly open the waterway behind the scenes. You do it if your plan is to keep the strait as a weapon for good. So sure, the Supreme Leader supposedly personally picked all 6. He just did it from a location they can't disclose, in a way they can't disclose, and in a video that looks exactly like AI on a day they won't name, with a signature that doesn't look like his. But yeah. We're definitely sure that it's the Supreme Leader who's in charge. But to understand why that purge is an act of weakness and not strength, look at what's flying over them while they do it. And that is the air power wing of the United States military. So here's the irony right now. Iran is acting tough. They're pretending like they can pressure the US military to do what they want with their deal with Oman. But meanwhile, F-16s, F-35s, P-8 Poseidons are still blasting off and covering the entire strait 24/7. And the F-16, as the hero jet for today, was built to be cheap and simple, and it basically turned into the hardest working multi-role striker that America owns at all. And the P-8 Poseidon, that airframe is a Boeing 737. Somebody took a passenger jet and turned it into a submarine hunter. So at the end of the day, this thing can carry weapons. It can actually carry kinetic options to strike these small mini subs.
That's not really a new thing, isn't it? Like, there are certain cargo planes. There are basically commercial planes, but converted into cargo planes. It just makes sense. Same company makes it, so that would make sense.
That Iran could be operating with in the Gulf right now. But in the theater, the Air Force Block 50 or Block 52 single-engine fighter jet, CENTCOM is blasting off these jets right now, and these are the door kickers. These are also going in with small diameter bombs, laser-guided rockets, the tools for exactly this kind of persistence and careful pressure. It's not there to level a city per se, it's there to be overhead every day, so Iran never gets a quiet minute to move oil or mass any of their small boats, with the Viper being right there with those 250-pound bombs. New advancements on the 250-pound bombs allows them to operate as laser-guided, GPS-guided, or AI-guided. You can just release them and let AI guide them to the target, which is just a massive capability when you're operating.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure I like that about the AI thing, because whatever limited exposure I have with AI, sometimes AI just takes things on its own, right? One of the time I tried to edit a thumbnail with an AI, and AI just completely removed me and installed some other guy. I'm like, I didn't tell you that. And he's like, I know that's you, and you didn't tell me that, but like I felt like I should change the guy completely to fit the picture better. I'm like, you do understand it's my video. Like, this is the whole thing, and like, I don't know. Like, AI could literally judge, I know that's the target US military wants me to attack, but I feel like that target is better. You don't want to do that, man. So I don't know about AI.
In a scenario where these small, fast attack craft could be massing, coming out of actual hiding places in the coastline itself, hidden in caves on the coastline, so you've got to have the ability for these weapons to automate themselves. And that's why AI being integrated into the targeting system is becoming so important. But a little more on the Poseidon, that P-8. So lightweight torpedoes, harpoon anti-ship missiles with a crew of around 9 running sensors. Its whole job is to make the ocean transparent, basically. To find the surface traffic running the blockade and to hunt the one thing Iran is really counting on, the quiet little submarines that could be hiding in the shadows. The F-16 owns the sky. The Poseidon owns the water underneath it. So think about these aviators. You hold these orbits for hours, you look at the pod picture, you assess every little detail, every instinct trained to act. And the entire point is to sit there and to be a problem that the IRGC can't solve. That's what these two aircraft are doing right now. The Viper is the fist that stays cocked, ready to rock, ready to boom, just drop some Thor on the IRGC. And the Poseidon is the eyes that never blink at all, and are the persistent stare sitting there watching every move the IRGC makes in the ocean. The Poseidon crew is flying the mirror image of that discipline.
Yeah, I know I get certain people eye roll type of comments. Like, this is all BS. Did USA achieve their objective? First of all, the conflict isn't over. Second of all, does that mean Iran won? So if USA doesn't get their like laser focus objective, does that mean Iran won? Is blockade not working? Is Iran's economy not dropping? Does America does have insane amount of power and technology? Are they not using that to block Iran in every single way? And is it not working? So I don't know what this like linear binary even argument that sometimes people make, like, oh, America didn't got the objective, so Iran won. Is that how it works? I don't even know what to say then, man.
People in the back of a converted airliner, running a search pattern for hours, dropping sonobuoys, and listening to an ocean that is doing everything it can to hide a small 7-man submarine. It's tedious work, it's exacting, and it's one of the hardest problems in naval warfare. And it's the reason that Iran's last real card stays stuck in its ports. So what does Iran do next? Well, likely they unleash their proxy forces. So we've seen satellite imagery showing their small Mosquito fleet of fast attack craft. That's going to be their number one goal. So if you have systems that can stay up overhead, watching, observing, waiting, using ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance to find, fix, track, target, and engage, FFFTR, some acronym like that. But targeting and engagement can be done with both of these platforms. That's why the combination of the two, the F-16 and the P-8 Poseidon, is an unlikely duo. It's like that movie Twins, for any of you that may have seen that movie back in the day with Arnold and Danny DeVito. That's basically twins of air power. Yeah, the P-8 Poseidon and the F-16 basically doing exactly what they did in the movie Twins. And they're
old Arnold movie was like on the nose crazy. Like, they knew it was like that. That was the time of Hollywood back then, that they could have a laugh on them own self, right? So it was very weird, it was very crazy, but they knew that they wanted to portray that message. So all those like Arnold movies, even like Stallone movies, they were like really fun.
doing these missions extremely well. And that's why having these two teamed up is an adversary and a force that's keeping the IRGC up at night. And the IRGC needs to get more hardline. That's what they see. They're panicking. They need the ability to keep the IRGC in power and to keep the mullahs in power. So Iran's claim is that its navy is intact and the Strait is a graveyard for the US military and anyone who tries. I mean, it's just crazy to think about. And how some corporate media outlets actually grab onto that and repeat some of that narrative. Here's the hard honesty check. The president and the secretary of war say Iran's navy is destroyed, and we've seen the actual targeting imagery. What survived, though, is the small, quiet stuff, the more proxy.
Another comments I get, didn't we destroy their air force completely? How is there still one F-14 there? Didn't we destroy the entire navy? How did that come? Didn't we destroy all the SAM side? How is there still S-300? Do you understand the scale of how big Iran is? If you destroy 98% of things, there's still 2% left. And you can't really know if the 2% left or not. You can't really check every square meter or every square foot of Iran. You can't really, doesn't matter how powerful any country is. Even if USA was 100 times more advanced than they are right now, they still wouldn't be able to do that. So what do you want? Anything, like even if like one news of certain thing pop up, or didn't US destroy all of them? What are you talking about? You can't really destroy. There's a reason why they say words like, oh, we have air supremacy rather than superiority, because there are people who are gonna like nag, like, yeah, you don't have complete because some guy with like a manpad can shoot you down, so fine, we have supremacy. Some things are like self-explained, like something you're supposed to understand. You don't need, like, somebody doesn't need to spell it out.
Terrorist tactic stuff. So the Ghadir-class midget subs, about 120 tons, 29 meters, a crew of 7, 2 torpedo tubes built off of a North Korean design to sit dead still in shallow, noisy water and wait. Iran had north of 20 of these. US estimates say somewhere around 11 were taken out in the war, which still leaves a few as being a real threat. But here's the thing. If these things try to go back into port for repairs, to restock and resupply, or they even surface, they're going to be highlighted like a you-know-what in sweatpants. Because Iran is going to be taking these things out, maybe dropping mines with them, maybe trying to do other nefarious actions against some of the tankers that could be going through the Strait of Hormuz. But once you see how these things operate, it's like saying the F word in church. You can't take it back. And that's why the P-8 Poseidon is likely up there right now, flying multiple missions a day to track exact small submarines just like this. So mines and midget subs, those are a denial weapon, not a war-winning weapon. These are the way that Iran can basically extend the conflict on, but not past the point, in my opinion, of a few more months. Because again, they go back into resupply, they go back into restock, they can be targeted and watched immediately and then engaged from the P-8 Poseidon and the F-16 itself. So at this point, these subs win by sitting perfectly still and holding their breath, which basically means they have the same strategy as a possum at this point. You made it to the global roundup, my friends, so let's talk about what's going on outside of Iran. In a refinery control room 500 miles east of Moscow, the workers had gathered outside to watch the drones come in, right up until the first one found the fuel. Ukraine's unmanned systems forces struck the TANECO refinery, one of the deepest strikes into Russian soil since the full-scale war kicked off years ago, against a plant that processes on the order of 15 million tons a year. Local authorities reported that there were lives lost, a dozen wounded. Russia's defense ministry claimed it brought down 456 drones overnight alone. That's their claim, not a confirmed figure. Here's why.
If Ukraine can go 500 miles in, 1,200 kilometers in, and do this in the center of Russia, man, this is just like next level thing. Like Russia has no defense. Maybe there can be no defense. Maybe these drones are so many and so small that it's not easy to defend. But even then, like, I guess you should have known that. What about your intel? When you started this special military operation, didn't your intel tell you that drone warfare is a threat? And if we start this conflict, we better end it fast, because if we don't, we might get screwed. These are the type of intel a big country like Russia should have. This is just by effed up, man.
It matters. It's a doctrine that we're watching Ukraine play out to cause pain to Russia's POL and their refineries. POL is petroleum, oil, and lubricants. So Russia's refineries are burning. At this point, Russia is seeing this systematic destruction of their petroleum, oil, and lubricants.
You can't, it's not just smoke. You can see fire from this distance. Look at that. That is insane. That means it's really burning because of oil, obviously.
Supply chain, and who knows, will this actually bring them to some sort of a deal? Well, they're claiming they shot down 456 drones overnight, which is a remarkable number for a night that also produced that much fire over a massive refinery. So Russia's like, yeah, our refinery got hit, but look at what we did. But look at what we did over here. Kind of seems like they're getting...
That's the problem. Oh, we destroyed 1,000 drone. 100 of got through. 100 explosion happens, but we got of them, 1,000 of them.
A little bit nervous. But that brings us to the 40 chess strategic analysis section, my friends. So if you put these facts side by side on what's going on, the POTUS says that the man at the top of Iran is 90% gone. Iran's own state media just issued 6 4-star appointments in the same man's name and signature. Both of those can't be true at once, and that's the gap in the entire story. Either the supreme leader is running a war from a bunker, nobody's allowed to photograph, or the people around him are running the country in his name and betting nobody calls their bluff. And it kind of looks more like the latter to me. But either way, a regime that has to prove its leader still exists by handing out promotions.
Dude, I said that when this conflict started, and we heard about new appointee, I said this, like IRGC might seize control because the old supreme leader had the respect because of the decades of being supreme leader. Why would people in power that have been there in power for a long time in IRGC would accept another leader? Why wouldn't they want to be leader? They can't be the leader, so they'll just control the system by themselves. Only way to do that is appoint someone who they like, because there was news there that the new Mustafa, the new supreme leader, is liked by IRGC. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, wait a minute. Is IRGC leaders trying to run the things by themselves and trying to appoint a guy that they like? It feels like that must be the case. because they are like these people who are getting appointed are the one who's kind of running things.
Is not negotiating from strength. Look at what they say versus what they need. They say the strait will never go back to normal. What they need is oil revenue, and they can't get any right now. They need the strait to be open just as much as everybody else, even more so than everybody else. And they've got a navy that can't get past that P-8 Poseidon, and a command they just had to rebuild from their bench. And every day the strait stays choked. Iran bleeds money it has no way to replace at all. As its wells dry up on Karg Island, as the IRGC and the mullahs see their rial, their currency, inflate to a level they never thought was possible.
Yeah, currency dropped to half. That's a sign of like, yeah, it's been choked off for a long time, which is the case right now.
We're seeing full panic mode go down in the Iranian regime, and every day we make these videos, we're learning a little bit more about the tactics of the IRGC and what might come next. What do you think?
Yeah, so anybody who says like, who's really winning? Okay, you think, did dollar drop? Did dollar price drop? No, it didn't. Did the Iranian currency drop? Yeah, by half. There's your answer. Who's winning and who's losing? It's basic math at that point, and if that doesn't convince you, nothing will. What is that to convince? You really think America gonna lose? Come on, that's a stupidity. All right, well, there you go. Iran just replaced the entire military command. I think they're like closer to making a deal. This type of changes, saying, yeah, we are making deal with Oman. So they have like certain escape, like argument. We didn't do any deal with America. We deal with Oman and we trust Oman. Deal gets made in the end. So I think deal is probably closer. All right, I'll see you next time.